Hey Leute, ich sage euch heute wieder willkommen auf meinem Kanal zu Genshin Impact. Wir spielen heute die Story weiter. Heute ist auch eine neue Aktion reingekommen, verlorene Stadt an der Front. Da haben wir dann wieder hier so Gegner zum Besiegen. Das sind mir eigentlich ja immer so die liebsten Events. Ich kämpfe da gern immer. Schaut da auf jeden Fall rein, dass ihr dann eure Belohnung bekommt. Ansonsten, wie ja auch schon beim letzten Stream angesprochen, haben wir hier Furina jetzt endlich. Die werde ich mir auch mal die nächsten Tage holen. Dann ist auch eben die Quest hier, der Auftrag weiter, wo wir jetzt spielen. Ihr Legendenauftrag, dafür müsst ihr halt aber auch erst, so wie hier beschrieben, die Story erstmal weiterspielen. Ansonsten eben auch können wir jetzt zu diesem Turm hier eben gehen. Den habe ich hier schon, den Teleportationspunkt, mal freigeschalten. Da seht ihr mal. Genau. Die versiegelte Turmruine. Auch die ganze Map hier ist eben komplett neu hinzugekommen. Da gibt es diese zwei Statuen 7, wo ihr das dann alles freischalten könnt. Und auch einen neuen Boss, den Hydro-Imitator. Da werde ich mir jetzt auf jeden Fall eben mal für Furina die holen, weil ich da das auf jeden Fall auch brauche für sie zum Aufleveln.
Illusion shattered! All hail! No touching!
Gather! Order guide you!
Everybody stand back! Now you shall perish! Blaze over! Shine down!
Solidify!
Illusion shattered! Shine down!
So, gleich mal her damit. Meine Dailies muss ich auch noch schnell hier aber mal machen. Aber die sind ja, wie jeder immer weiß, eigentlich in nicht mal einer Viertelstunde erledigt. Ansonsten schreibt mir gerne in die Kommentare, wie ihr das Update so findet, für welche Charakter ihr ziehen werdet. So, die Früchte hier zerstören. Ich bin ja schon gespannt, es gibt auf jeden Fall auch eine neue Sphäre. Die könnt ihr, wenn ihr wollt, sogar über Schnellding freischalten. Hier natürlich auch neue Belohnung. Genau hier die Gebietssäuberung. Da könnt ihr sozusagen diese schnelle Herausforderung aktivieren. Müsst euch aber halt eben bewusst sein, dass ihr da euer Spielerlebnis halt ein bisschen mindert, weil ihr eigentlich dafür die Aufträge davor machen müsst. Und könnt dann aber direkt dahin. Und das sind dann diese neuen Materialien zur Verbesserung von den Figuren. Ich werde schauen, dass ich auf jeden Fall morgen und auch heute eben so weit wie möglich spiele mit der Story, dass wir vielleicht dann morgen schon diese Sphäre sehen. Da bin ich auch schon echt gespannt drauf. So, ich muss jetzt leider eure Türme zerstören.
Illusion shattered.
Solidify!
This is long overdue.
Meine Materialien für Furina.
This is order!
I'm going in. There is no escape. Inazuma shines eternal.
Ach, komm doch her.
Illusion shut.
Stabilize!
Born of ice and frost.
Solidify!
Shine down. All hail.
Order guide you!
Let's light it up. There is no escape. Teamwork is dreamwork. Now you shall perish.
So, für die großartigen 11. Das geht jetzt ein bisschen in das neue Gebiet rein. Ach, grüß dich da oben. Ah,
Another, please appreciate my sincere.
Stabilize!
No touching. Punished. How inconsiderate of me. This is long overdue.
Gather!
Access denied. No touching. must go on. Out of my sight. Forgive my discourtesy.
Gather!
Get. Access denied. Apologies.
Ich hasse diese Krankheit.
You can't. Inazuma shines eternal.
Und ich hasse das Teleportieren von hier.
Winter shall eventually come. Take them. I have no need.
So, ja, wie ich es mir gedacht habe, der Oculus ist da oben. Wenn ihr übrigens mal sowas habt mit dieser Krankheit, da könnt ihr einfach hergehen. Müsst irgendwie gar nicht so einen Heilcharakter oder irgendwie so nehmen, sondern ich nehme da einfach hier das Essen, wo ich eh 100 Mal habe. Drauf, drauf, drauf. So, und schon sind die geheilt.
Illusion shattered!
Begin! Stabilize!
Direct weapon! Born of ice and frost. Are you? Shine in the end.
Da ist auch noch eine kleine Kiste.
Torn to oblivion! Shine down!
Solidify!
Wo kommt denn
Access denied!
Nervensäge?
How inconsiderate of you. I can still... Let me try.
But a momentary distraction.
Ich bin hier aber was. Kapiere ich jetzt nicht ganz. Irgendwo muss hier was in der Nähe sein. Ah, okay.
Ad Astra Abyss. Thank you for completing.
So, ich brauche nochmal.
Illusion shattered! All hail!
Der wird die nächste Zeit auch leider verglauben müssen.
This is order.
I'm going in! Now you shall perish!
Stabilize.
Born of ice and frost. This is long overdue.
Gather.
There is no escape. Access denied.
I will have order. Solidify.
Let's light it up! Everybody stand back! Inazuma shines eternal!
So, sehr schön. Vergesst nicht immer eure Erlebnispunkte da abzuholen. Und jetzt machen wir auch weiter hier endlich mit der Story. Wir haben jetzt Gehe zu den Ruinen. Das ist die Storyline eben vom neuen Update 4.2, wo es hier weitergeht.
So, are these the ruins the knave was talking about?
They seem to be pretty ancient already.
Let's go in and have a look.
Just be careful.
Truppenstufe 90.
Illusion shattered!
As one with wind and cloud.
Here you are.
Shine down!
Hold the line.
Wow!
Floor here isn't safe.
There is no escape!
Nee, da scheint nichts unten zu sein.
This place has also been contaminated by primordial seawater.
Yeah. And a lot of it, too. A Fontanian would most likely dissolve the moment that...
Right! You can't go down if there's primordial seawater. It's too dangerous and it won't be any help. Don't get Paimon wrong. We're not saying you're useless.
No, you're right. I can't do anything in this situation. That complicates things.
Tja,
In that case, do you want to wait for us here?
The water levels here are unstable, and there's a chance the water... I'll go together with you. Perhaps we'll find the exit just...
All right. Come with us for now. Oh no, it's a dead end. Let's try
Gehen wir
climbing
doch mal
over from
baden.
the side.
zack. Oh, okay. Da darf man anscheinend nicht rein. Wobei es uns ja eigentlich gar nichts ausmachen würde.
Into the wind. Time to go.
Okay, schaut auch auf jeden Fall echt cool aus.
Tja.
Wait! There's something wrong with this bridge! Run for it!
Lauf! Nein! Nein.
Demoiselle?
Huh?
Demoiselle, what are you doing here by yourself? Would you be standing here till dark if I hadn't come to get you?
Maybe she just wants some time to herself, Malus.
Oh. Was I sleeping?
Yes, it would appear so.
I must be tired.
That's quite possible. However, you were the one that suggested...
Oh, right. I nearly forgot. It must have slipped my mind when I dozed off. I haven't had a nap today yet. Have I? This is a familiar feeling, yet something...
Is something the matter, Demoiselle?
Oh, no. No, I'm fine. I was just trying to recall why we came out for a walk.
Do you remember Mr. Giverny? He'd requested our help before with foreign merchants who had a debt dispute with him, and we'd resolved them.
We were headed to see how things were going with him at the moment.
Ah, right. Yes.
Oh, Miss Navia. Ah, Mr. Malus. And Mr. Silver, too.
How have you been?
I've been great. Thanks to your help, those bothersome merchants finally realized that I wasn't the one they were They were knocking at my door day and night. Even my neighbor, Obina, was getting fed up with them.
Sometimes force is required to calm someone down.
That's right. Oh, by the way, Burnett, what was it that you wanted...
Oh, yes. One moment, I have Miss Navia. These are some flower seeds that I prepared. Please take them. I don't know what we would have done without your help, so this is a little token of...
Ah, did you cultivate them yourself? Thank you so much.
Why, we can have as many pots as you'd like, Demoiselle.
Perfect. In that case, we'll swap out some of the decorative plants for some of Mrs...
Very well.
Wait. Something seems to be off. Excuse me, madam. if I'm not mistaken, your name is Burnett.
That's right.
No, it's nothing. This is the first time we've ever met, but I've heard this name before. Sometime. And why are there so few people around here?
We must mind the time, demoiselle. We still have important things to attend to today.
Huh? We do?
Well, now, did you forget?
Miss Navia, here you are. I've been looking for you. Please, come to the...
My trial?
Yes, she's right, demoiselle. It's just about...
Oh?
Look, it's Navia!
And her two attendants are with her. Goodness, everyone's finally here.
There sure are a lot of people here to see the trial. And they all seem to... Karina, Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen. Why are so many people? And as for the judge... huh? What?
Please sit in the defendant's seat.
All right, but...
Typically, it wouldn't be...
Hey, what kind of place do they think this is?
Come on, do they have any idea what they're doing?
Enough with the whispering!
My dear Miss Navia, have you not yet realized? As all here know, you are Master Callus's successor. After you took over the Spina, you treated all of us just like the late Master Callus had. Not only you, but your butler, your subordinates, nearly every...
Wait a moment.
Yes, correct. Absolutely right. And that is why you stand accused. We are one big family, all of us who are from Poisson, inextricably linked. Therefore, this fair and honorable court shall declare you guilty, and you shall stay here.
Huh? Everything you have said is correct. I have indeed done...
Oh, well, if that's...
How wonderful!
I know all these people. Why are they laughing?
I seem to remember now.
Wait just a moment. This isn't right!
Malus?
What was that, Mr. Malus? Our conclusion is very clear and unanimous. Let the court judge her now. She's guilty!
Stay here, Navia! You're one of us!
Demoiselle, don't admit guilt. This trial means to keep you here forever.
I wish to exercise my right to defend Our Lady. Mr. Joinville, you only know of...
She was born a free and independent spirit. She has never...
Her actions cannot serve as proof that she identifies herself. Please do not mistake her.
Really? As an individual, you say? Don't forget, we are all Fontanians here. This is the nation. Even if Miss Navia only voluntarily rendered her assistance, that doesn't change the fact that her beautiful soul must return to everyone. Everything is measured here in the nation of Hydro. And in the end, now I speak for everyone. Our opinion is consistent. Navia should stay. We...
And you would call this justice? Preposterous. Have you forgotten how much you all once longed to become individuals?
Do you mean to defy our justice?
If your justice is flawed, then why should we acknowledge it?
As you said, we can also have our own justice. Silver and I, and that...
My head...
Demoiselle!
Silver, it hurts. I remember now. Everything that seemed odd from the Karina, Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen, and Mr. Giverny and Mrs. Burnett, who we met earlier. Even Malus and Silver. I don't want to admit it, but they're all dead.
Don't be afraid, and don't admit guilt.
Absurd! Who are you to say that she can... Don't let them escape! We shall keep Navia...
Mr. Malus and Mr. Silver, must you be so stubborn? How could the two of you possibly hope to stand against the collective? Do not resist. This judgment is fair and just. Navia belongs to us. After all that happened, she should not be left alone in Poisson.
What are you saying?
No more excuses!
He says we're jealous. Jealous? How could she possibly be an independent?
What's with these people?
Who's jealous of her?
She belongs to us!
Miss... Silence.
That's... Monsieur Neuvillette!
Such commotion is prohibited in the court. The court will adjourn for the rest of the day.
Our thanks, monsieur.
Please leave with me, Miss Navia.
But...
Go on now, demoiselle. This is your only chance.
Loose.
My apologies. I couldn't resist making one little joke once I realized that...
Malus... Silver...
Quickly, you must come now.
Goodbye, demoiselle.
Farewell.
No, wait! Just a second!
Navia?
You're awake. Good.
Oh,
I must have been dreaming. Malus and Silver were still alive.
It looks like you're all right.
Did all the sad feelings cause you to have a nightmare? Paimon could give you a hug.
oh ja, das brauchen wir
The
unbedingt.
ruins you were exploring suffered a cave-in. When I arrived, I found you falling toward the water. You were just about to be dissolved within, but I...
Wer möchte nicht eine Umarmung von Paimon?
What is it?
I think I saw 2 Oceanids protecting you. It was only for a moment, perhaps even a fraction of a second, but they gave me the chance to Were it not for their intervention, I would not have been able to rescue you before your...
Wait, did you say Oceanids? You mean like what happened with...
Perhaps those 2 Oceanids were the people...
I always told them that they didn't have to protect me.
Please come with me.
Neuvillette, are you okay?
Oh, I am quite all right.
Why do you look so still? Oh, Paimon knows. You're the type who feels awkward when there's nothing to...
I merely thought that we should give Navia some
Huh? Why didn't you just say so then? Don't you think it's even more awkward to call us over?
I suppose so. Ah, Sigewinne. I hope all is well with her these days.
No way, don't worry. She's doing fine down there.
I see. Well, that is good. I have always worried that Sigewinne would need a lot of time to understand the world of humanity.
Oh, and the Duke also says hi. Even though Sigewinne made him do that. He hopes that you haven't been overwhelmed by all that's happened lately.
Thank you. I have indeed been busy lately, and I also hope...
He still doesn't know what to talk about. Let's chat about something else. So, Neuvillette, you're probably quite the swimmer, huh?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
This isn't going anywhere.
Yes, in fact. I had arranged to meet you in Poisson, but when I arrived, I discovered that the Fatui were helping the residents evacuate. They had even Amid my astonishment, I ran into the knave, and we had a chat. She informed...
Yeah, we originally planned to meet up with you, but we thought you might still be busy with all those official documents. We didn't think exploring...
Bing, Errungenschaft.
I'm sorry to have kept you all waiting like that. I'm feeling much better now. I guess we should get going again. Will you come with us, Monsieur Neuvillette?
Yes, if you wouldn't mind my company.
All right! Another one joins the party! Let's get going then!
Time to go.
Shine down!
Hallo?
Allow me!
So, hier gibt es auch nur Urwasser, soweit das Auge reicht.
One with nature.
Oh no, another
Och, nicht schon
unstable
wieder.
path. Watch your step.
Hier zerfällt ja schon alles.
The wind knows me.
Watch out! There are rocks falling over here!
Here you are.
Ja, und die werden auch wieder zerbrechen, genau.
One with nature.
It seems we're almost at the top. Keep it up!
There is no escape. Clouds high. The birds call.
Allow me!
The process of elimination.
So, was passiert? Chance? Nee, okay, da werden wir dann einfach zurückgebracht.
Looks like we've reached the end.
This is the place. There should not be any other hidden spaces.
The path sure had some twists and turns, but it turns out that this place isn't actually that big.
Stone slates? It seems like they were put here as an offering. Could we take them down and...
Perhaps we should just leave them be for now.
There are 4 locations in total, but only 3 stone slates. The slate that should be in the first empty spot is missing.
The surrounding walls also show signs of damage.
There's something written below. Let Paimon see. Reason dictates that this nation be destroyed. I shall record the history of its future here in its past.
It feels like someone left these slates and these words here for a purpose. But does he mean that Fontaine should be destroyed?
That would fit the circumstances dictated by the prophecy, yes. Indeed, the slate's contents correspond to it. Take the second slate, for example.
There's a person kneeling here. She seems so dedicated. And there's a whole bunch of other people behind her doing the same. She's facing
Das könnte Celestia oder so sein.
What is this?
And is that Lady Furina in the third image? Did the Hydro Archon fall into the water?
And is that a ring of people around her? Paimon doesn't quite get...
The fourth image. I know this one. This exactly matches the content of the prophecy.
The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain, weeping on her throne. More information should be hidden in these slates, but I fear I cannot easily uncover it. Most likely...
Don't blame yourself, Monsieur Neuvillette. Deciphering ancient stone slates isn't one of you.
Ooh, Paimon's getting the chills just looking. This says that it's the history of the future, right? That means the prophecy's sure to come true.
I really hope it doesn't mean that.
Still, Paimon feels like these images are kind of weird when you look at them together.
That's right! If the images are in chronological order, shouldn't the fourth, the waters drowning Fontaine, come before the third, where the Hydro Archon herself falls into the water?
And yet the order is reversed here.
Zu welcher Sünde bekennen sich?
If we go by timing, Lady Furina only emerges in the third image. That means that the person in the second image...
Egeria, then. I had never met her, but her appearance here does match the previous Archon kneeling before the floating island in the skies, as if confessing a sin.
Did she herself commit that sin? And if not, also, I'm still wondering why these ancient stone slates are here at all. Judging from their contents...
But who would have created these slates and left...
It seems that any further clues will have to come from Furina.
In that case, there's no time to lose. There's nothing else...
Yeah, we better get somewhere safe for now.
Gut, die Prophezeiung hier.
Let's split up here. I'm going to check on what's happening with the Spina. You know how it is. There's some things you just need...
You still have energy for that, Navia? Paimon's already beat.
Just head back to the Fleuve Cendre and have a rest then.
I'll depart as well. Thanks for your hard work today. Traveler, I will go talk to Furina tomorrow morning to ask... I'm sure that you're concerned about this matter as well. If you have time, drop by my office.
Are you really gonna talk to her about this directly? Will that be a problem?
She has long been harboring secrets and will not give them up easily, which makes it all the more my duty.
All right, we'll leave it in your hands then. You're probably the...
I will be carefully considering my words to...
Traveler, Paimon, our safe house at the Fleuve Cendre is open. All right.
We're finally back!
Welcome back. We've got a special menu prepared for you two tonight.
Yay! And there's good food too! Navi,
Ja, eigentlich
the
nicht.
boss is the best.
Eigentlich hat sie es nicht verdient.
Ooh, desserts! Nice! These are all Paimon's! Paimon's already starting to forget what happened today.
Oh, that voice. Is that who I think it is?
Huh?
It's you two.
Was macht denn die hier?
What are you doing in Fontaine?
Mona?
Genau.
Seriously, nobody just uses a scry glass whenever they've got time to just see who they'll meet on the road.
Still, we didn't expect expect to see you here. Wait, you're not a Fontanian, are you, Mona?
Well, I have some business to attend to here, so I booked a hotel in the city. I was just out for a stroll when I bumped into you. Quite, why did you think I was from Fontaine, though? Is that because Magistus doesn't sound much like a Mondstadt surname?
Yeah.
Well, I used to have my own surname, which was, well, some other thing. Either way, the old hag told me when she took me as her disciple that the first step to being a great astrologist's pupil was to change that name. There was nothing for it, really. She really is amazing at astrology, so I changed my name to what it is now,
It isn't?
Nope. Although it is used by us in place of surnames, it generally just means great.
Wow! Imagine including a boast in your name. Wait!
I reckon so. In any case, I'd give my disciple a name like this as well, if I were to take Astromancer Barbeloth Trismegistus.
Okay.
Whoa,
Keine weiteren
that's
Fragen.
a long one. Does it also mean greater?
My name means Mona the Great Astrologist. As for the old hag, hers is, in plain speech, the thrice as great Scholar of the Stars. Just take it as a title specific.
Thrice as great? That's so...
I know, right? That's just how she is. She used to call herself Magistus, actually, but when she took me in, she changed her name to Trismegistus.
Talk about excessive.
Magistus is thus the calling card of our school, so to speak, which makes it about the same as a surname. It's all right if you don't get it. You can look into it further should you need to study astrology more
Ja,
deeply.
dreimal so gefräßige Palm und Toast.
That sounds terrible!
Stimmt aber.
But anyway, you're not Fontanian, are you, Mona? You're from Mondstadt, right?
Well, I was born in Mondstadt, yes. My parents migrated to Dorman Port, and I traveled with the old hag for a while, after which I settled...
Oh, that's a good thing then. At least we know you won't be dissolved by Fontaine's waters.
Speaking of that, I'm sure you're aware that a bunch of things have happened here in Fontaine, right? I know you're not a local, but I'd avoid getting too close. There's something ominous about it. Well, the water, I mean. That was the main reason, yes. Just a while back, the Steambird the invitation was sent quite early on. I don't think anyone
What do you make of that prophecy, Mona? Just tell us what you think as an astrologist.
What I can tell you is that I'm an astrologist, and that this prophecy concerns the fate of Fontaine. I'm afraid that this is not something that just anyone can do. If I could do it, you would no longer call. But on the flip side, the prophecy is so huge and powerful that it must surely come from
A visionary? Sounds really powerful and all, but does such a person really exist?
Of course. The old hag could do it, and I'd bet there are others amongst those Hexenzirkel colleagues of hers who could do something. Are you sure? All right, I'll help you.
Thanks, Mona. You're amazing.
Oh, well, this is something only I can do after all. So yes, your praises are quite welcome.
That's the greatest of astrologists for you! Of all the people we know, you...
Indeed. That's the spirit.
Okay, noch mehr
Oh,
Honig
sorry.
ums Maul rumschmieren.
I came to see what all the commotion was about. If there's anything you need, do not hesitate.
Oh, whoops. Guess we were getting a little too carried away there. Well, I'll go tend to my own business now. If I receive any news...
And there she goes, quick as rushing water. And here we are with the Spina guy giving us suspicious looks. Right, but we were able to recruit Mona's help, didn't we? Our Fontanian... Good morning. To be honest, Paimon's still feeling kind of sleepy. But it's time to get up, traveler. We agreed to go see Neuvillette, so let's pack it up and get going.
You're here! Finally!
Is something wrong?
Monsieur Neurvalette and Lady Furina, they seem to have gotten into
Was
a
denn ein
dispute.
Streit?
Please go see for yourself.
Like I said, I've already explained everything.
And yet the problem has not been properly solved. There is little space for excuses between us. It is not my intention to offend you, but please, tell me where you stand. You are the Hydro Archon Furina, are you not? Look at this. This is a list of the victims from the recent Poisson incident.
You mean... they're all...
We did not arrive in time to avert this disaster, and I will not have it happen again. I will say this once more. You must tell me everything you know. Yesterday, I found 3 stone slates in some ancient ruins near Poisson. Do you know anything about those?
Seriously? You're questioning me like this is a court case now. I don't know anything about that. But you found them in some ancient ruins, you say?
That's correct, which is why I came to ask you some questions. There should have been 4 slates, but one of them was missing. The other 3 feature different images that seem to correlate to the prophecy.
The prophecy?
The second of these slates depicts the previous Hydro Archon Egeria kneeling before a floating island in the sky, as if confessing something.
I don't. I've never seen such slates.
I'll ask you again. Do you really have no information regarding the previous
raus mit der
Archon?
Wahrheit.
My deciphering of the slates indicates that the Hydro Archon Egeria once had to confess to, or apologize for, a certain sin. If anyone would know about it, it should be you.
All gods don't have the same secrets, you know. She was herself and I'm me. Is it really so strange that I know nothing? I understand your concerns, but I'm sorry. I just don't have anything to tell you.
Forgive me for saying this now, Lady Furina, but I have long known of your various secret investigations, and there are several indications that you have been investigating the prophecy on the sly. This is not strange in itself, considering that you are the Hydro Archon. But it is strange that you should also claim to not know any of Egeria's secrets, as well as do nothing following your inquiries. You have never been as superficial as you have presented yourself to be, nor are you a fool. And yet, your behavior is very inconsistent.
Okay.
So you've been watching me all this time, have you? I didn't think you were that type.
You...
Well, since you know about my secret investigations, then you should know I'm actually working to take care of it. There's no point questioning or suspecting me. You're the Eudix, but you're still my subordinate. You should be following my lead. Just trust in me, you're Archon, and do as I say. Never mind whether you can truly convince yourself to or not. It'll all turn out fine. That's all I have to say. We do not discuss this matter again. Oh, the opera's about to start. Toodles!
Einfach eine reinhauen.
Did Furina not notice us standing by the door? Wonder what's up with her. She was...
I assume you've been outside for a while now?
Oh! You noticed! Seems Furina didn't even realize we were here.
She was in a great panic, though I cannot discern the reason. Our discussion reached impasses time and again. A state of affairs still I do not understand. Dialogue is the basis for understanding, so why did she keep refusing to engage? Everyone in her inner circle has noticed that she is hiding some secret. The issue is we may have to create a situation in which she will have no choice but to
Oh?
Normally, people will only reveal the truth when standing trial. Perhaps we must...
But Furina's seen so many trials, and she's really good at dodging questions. How do we make sure that she won't just slip?
We will need to consider this thoroughly, join forces with various parties, and then do what we can. If at all possible, I would prefer to recuse myself from this affair, but we must... This may be cruel to her, but all Fontaine is in crisis. The information a god possesses is too precious. But who will lend us their aid to do such a thing?
Well, that's everyone, huh? Speaking of which, it was pretty smart of you to think of hiding here.
Poisson was just involved in a disaster, so it's presently devoid of people. That naturally makes it the best choice.
And here you are drinking tea like it's the most natural thing in the world.
That's what family should do. Sit and enjoy a leisure...
It's nice to enjoy tea here, you know? Care for...
Lend me your ears, everyone. Or perhaps one of you might like to start us off. How about you, friend?
Me? No, I don't think I can.
Then, how about you, good sir?
I fear that I will cause the mood on this boat to become...
Well then, I guess we're lucky we've got a local like me to organize things.
That was a little long-winded, don't you think?
Oh, you might be right. Anyway, to cut to the chase, our friend here, as for what that is, well, let's start by saying that we'll be...
Oh, how intriguing.
Well, it's just an expression, really. One that I just learned from Chlorand. And used on...
Huh? Didn't you say that?
Oh, come now. Your work doesn't involve much public speaking, right? This is a good chance to practice. You might even pick up some fancy oratory tricks to impress your boss with in the future.
I see. And what does my boss say?
He is glad that you consider him your boss. Do go on.
In that case, do any of you have experience hunting?
Not that I recall.
Fremine and I once used a wooden stick in a basket to catch wild rabbits when we were younger. As for
I've also gone
I'm afraid not. You may or may not have heard, but Fontaine once played host, though that was their name. They did not hunt animals, but rather various monsters left behind by the ancient... Today, Fontaine's monster population has already thinned greatly, so the hunters have blended back into society. A trap comprises of the following components: bait, a trigger, and a containment device. So, if we were to build a trap together, right now...
For me, I would prefer something basket-shaped. Pigeons and rabbits will see. Our line of work requires a deft hand, and we're some of...
You used some of those techniques while moving the people of Poisson, didn't you? My subordinates mentioned that you even...
Yes, and I even managed to gather some intelligence in the meantime. I'm quite the multitasker if I...
I'm afraid I can't claim that as my strong suit. I prefer more stable methods, like placing bait in the water and waiting for the fish to come within reach. That's the kind of method I...
Calm and steady. Exactly the kind of person who would catch loads of...
And I can be their assistant.
With discretion, I'm sure.
I'd probably use some sort of mechanical animal. Papa once bought me some small clockworks. I remember that you liked those too, didn't you?
I did. And that would be a good way to go about it. If they're realistic enough...
What about you, Monsieur Neuvillette?
I fear I do not have any related experience.
Sehr
that makes sense.
gesprächslastig auf jeden Fall.
You
wieder.
usually solve problems
Alles.
directly, without the use of any such tricks. But I do have one more question for you, monsieur. If we were to create a trap now, how would you design it?
I would like for it to be effective, but bring no harm to the prey. A more gentle trap would be ideal.
Kind, as always. However, our intention doesn't necessarily change the containment of. If we wanted to kill the prey in one strike, we would need a powerful implement. However, that also goes for prey that must.
Wait, why's that?
Only a hunter who's a true expert at subduing their prey can snare it without harming it.
So are we going hunting together?
Huh. We hadn't thought of seeing ourselves as hunters. It kinda works, but maybe it's still not the best metaphor.
If our means of capturing and dealing with our prey is to put them on trial, then the hunting metaphor is actually quite accurate. But we shall require much more courage than any hunter to judge a god.
Oh, so that's what's...
Na, dann gehen wir wieder zum Stützpunkt.
It's been a tough few days, hasn't it? So much has been happening. Paimon didn't think... Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, Fremine was, now that Paimon thinks about it, but everyone else just looked a little surprised. Well... It's hard to say. Paimon doesn't have any experience with this sort of thing. But with you around, Paimon sure will do great. After all, you're the most reliable person in the world, aren't you? Did you just pour some tea? Paimon didn't know... Then what's that? Paimon's never seen that cup before.
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you two for tea. I merely refrained from saying anything till now.
Who's that voice?
Ah, have you forgotten me already?
Wait. You are familiar. You're the voice we heard from the sky in Sumeru.
Okay.
The voice from the sky, I fear that description is wrong. Though, not completely wrong. You're feeling lost now, just as you were feeling previously. I sensed that confusion and thus came to you. Guiding people is an irresistible hobby of mine, after all. Consider me a passerby, just accepting a commission from my friend's disciple on a whim. The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
What? Then is there any way we can stop it?
I believe you have witnessed a failed attempt with your own eyes. Can everything in Teyvat so easily be changed? Ah, so you've caught on. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where the gods' gaze does not fall? Are the things that you shall see different from the fate that the gods perceive?
Gute Frage.
What is she talking about? It all sounds really impressive and...
I believe that you understand, right? Some things are insignificant, but others you must reach out to change. Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Teyvat's future. All you need to do is to play your part. This was good tea, by the way. Thank you for your hospitality. Well, that'll be all for today.
The voice. It's gone. What? I want to hear someone talking. Alright, coming! Hey, it's you who's getting lazy, okay?
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively banter.
Mona!
Fine, just fine. I went to take part in that Steambird panel. It turned out to be not all Fontanians are pessimistic about this. One journalist mentioned that sitting around and waiting for the end to come would be wrong, and that they should make their own rescue preparation.
Did she have pink hair by any chance?
Why, yes! It was Charlotte. You remember her, right? That daredevil journalist. I'm in full support of her view. Prophecies are very important, but how can people...
That's right! Paimon's glad to hear something sensible for once.
Ah, yes. About what we had discussed before. I did try, but... Huh? Goodness gracious. Are you serious?
She said that even the god's gaze has blind spots. Pretty bold if you ask Paimon. Most people...
The Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary. As for the mage named N, the old hag has mentioned her a few times. She said that N's sense of direction is incredible, and that she loves guiding those who are lost. But I've never met her, and if she were still alive, she'd be... Well, suffice it to say that the hag's at least a few hundred now, and N's been around for longer than that.
Whoa, the Hexen Circle sounds like a scary group. But
their abilities alone are pretty terrifying. If she came to see you personally, then the problem you're facing must truly be of great importance.
Well, it's not like Paimon could understand anything she said.
Yes, she was quite cryptic, but I suspect she means that there is still a way to turn things around. She didn't say when or what that would be. Perhaps it is something that you cannot know right now. Traveler, Paimon?
Oh, we're fine. We're just a little down right now.
I see. I feel that same sense. I guess you could consider me someone who has often witnessed fate. But even so, I still hope for and believe in miracles. Astrology is eternal and perhaps that's what N was trying to tell you. Not to lose heart, and to believe that what you are seeing I did originally think of steering clear of all this, but I couldn't. Even if this is all futile, I still wish to help everyone.
Huh. You do have a point.
There I go, talking about astrological principles again. It was worth trying to comfort you, even if only a little. I believe that you'll help those who are struggling in the same way I did. I suppose that might be why we always seem to meet by coincidence.
Paimon feels kinda moved by what Mona said, but also kinda sad too. Hey, Traveler, Paimon suddenly feels like going outside for a walk. Let's go. Let's walk around the city, shall we? There's a few spots we always like to walk by.
Na gut, dann gehen wir halt in der Stadt ein wenig spazieren.
Huh? Our names are written... Let Paimon see! The underwater stronghold, the Fortress of Meripede, has continued in its My recent attempts to enter the fortress bore little fruit. Thus, did an Outlander friend become the focus of this report. A blonde adventurer with their white face. So while the fortress's interior remains a mystery behind closed doors, journalist Charlotte's biggest scoop yet. The travel... Huh. Charlotte took so many awesome photos. She hasn't been able to get a hold of anything at the fortress, so since we're easier to find... Ugh, seriously? Well, fine. We're here! Hey, quick! Look! That's the limited edition, only 16 slices a day cake! It was so delicious the last time we tried it, despite the tense situation we were in. Let's get...
One slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after all! Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia.
Oh, are you here to buy cake too? It seems Monsieur Nervalette was right. You really can eat.
Wait, did he really say something like that?
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes to food. As for me, I love the cake and coffee here.
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
Okay,
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work. I shall have my cake and coffee.
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon, and you wouldn't get to eat cake here anymore?
But why would it close?
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but maybe the waters will rise tomorrow.
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No, still, even if there'd be no more cake tomorrow, that wouldn't keep me from having some today. No, it's the same for eating in general. You might not be able to eat tomorrow, but if you can do so today, then you should carry on. That's what people call living, you know.
Das finde ich mal einen guten Lebensweg.
Don't
Einfach
be sad.
heute fressen und
Excuse
nicht
me,
am
could I
Morgen dran
have
denken.
2 more slices of cake to go? These 2 slices are for you. Sijuin said that this kind of expression you're making is what humans call being sad.
Oh, you know Sijuin?
I sure do. She was born before me, and she sometimes comes to the surface to teach us things about humans. She said that humans are creatures that are saddened easily, yes, and you can only lift their spirits by feeding them delicious food. So please try the cakes here. I've got something else to do, so
Gut, da
I'll be
ist
going
was
now.
dran.
You
Ich
do
bin
try
auch
to stay in a
glücklich
good
mit
mood
gutem
after
Essen.
eating, all right? Bye.
And there she goes. All right, let's dig in. Paimon's sure this cake will be It's more delicious than last time, and the flavor gets even better. Sure would be nice if we could always eat delicious.
Schauen, ob es hier eigentlich neue Rezepte gibt. Ah ja, gibt es. Die haben wir schon alle.
Oh, we're near the Steambird office. Let's go look for Charlotte and have a chat.
Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon! Oh, have you...
Ha! You've got some nerve! You just used us to...
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I heard that you were in Poisson some time back, so I sent you a letter to discuss just that. It's all right, though. I've set aside the amount intended for you. I've even set the table with some food.
Really? Oh,
You're almost a little too easy to win over, Paimon.
If I were a journalist with ulterior motives, you'd be in trouble now, you know.
Oh, Paimon knows you're not like that.
Still, what brings you here all of a sudden? Were you looking for me?
When Mona mentioned you, we thought of coming to see you at work.
I see. It seems you've already bumped into Mona here in... So she mentioned me? What did she say?
She said that you're a real daredevil of a journalist.
Nice. In which case, can this daredevil journalist dare to request an exclusive interview?
Huh? So your article in the...
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more like live photography. What I'd like to do is dive deeper and ask you to...
Yeah, are we even qualified?
Why not? If I say you're worth an interview, then you're worth it. But no...
Oh, in that case, we'll just chat.
Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! I'll tell the editor-in-chief immediately. I'll have to apply for lighting, a venue, some props, and... Whew, so much to get done now. Talk to you later.
Wait, Charlotte, Paimon's still got a question for you.
And what's that?
If, just for example...
Huh, that's the prophecy you're talking about, isn't it? I mean, I do hear about it. If you're seriously asking, then I might try and think of a way to leave Fontaine. Oh, but I'm still a journalist first and foremost. That means from what I've seen, most people don't know what they'd do should the worst come to pass. In truth, so in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the office for that interview of ours. I know what you're thinking. Just think about it. If this nation really were to be suddenly destroyed tomorrow, but I still successfully finish an exclusive... And then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that story, send it for printing, and use messenger pigeons to get... I'm not a dreamer, nor am I a workaholic. But I do love my job. But anyway, that's my answer.
Kurz und knapp, ne?
So nice. All of a sudden... Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we? The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty Paimon's been thinking. If it wasn't Fontaine, but all of Tevat that would be destroyed... No, Paimon should ask if you could... We've always been moving to the next destination, so we haven't spent much time... You mean, still traveling? Huh. Wait!
Ja, wirklich was Spannendes passiert hier. Leider gerade nicht so.
Feels like you'll grow mold if you stay here. But it's still better than the Fortress of Mirapede, that's for sure.
So the two of you are still here.
Oh, you're from the Palais Mermonia.
Yes, I'm Isadora. Monsieur Nervillet sent me to look for you two before. Not at all. I'm well aware that you're friends of his. Yes, inside the Opera House.
A riot?
Well, that said, Lady Furina was watching a performance at the Opera House, and while she was resting during an loudly accusing her of doing nothing about the prophecy crisis. And before she could respond, others started to... The crowd continued to grow and protest against the high...
So people have started to put the blame on Furina. Guess they finally found an outlet for the...
I agree. People will naturally rely on gods, as is customary.
So what happened after that is Furina...
Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control and that further argument was pointless, she claimed the Marechaussee Phantom had their hands full maintaining order and did not catch where Lady Furina had gone.
So, you mean she's...
That's right. The Marechaussee has dispatched many people to search for her. That said, I don't think there's much to worry about. She is a god. Good. Monsieur Nervillet sent me...
Don't worry, this is more than enough to go on.
Is that so?
Well, sounds like we should hurry over to Poisson then. If we know Furina, she won't try to fix things in this situation. Instead, she'll look for a place to wait out the heat. And, as we also know, she may be loud. When Nervillet was talking to her in the Palais Mermonia, and she heard about Poisson, it would be hard for her to ignore being accused by the public. Paimon thinks thinks Furina's probably taken the opportunity to slip away. Huh. Well, what do you think? Paimon knows the answer, of course, but Paimon, in that case, there's not a moment to live.
So, gut, weiter. Aber jetzt mal eine kurze Pause. Ich bin dann gleich wieder da. Bis gleich, Leute. So, welcome back. Dann machen wir jetzt weiter. Suche nach Furina in Häusen oder wie es auch immer heißt.
This place looks deserted. Guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Furina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible.
Suchen wir mal unseren kleinen, jammernden, weinenden Hydro Archon.
That's Furina, right over there. She really...
Should I just give up? This is all meaningless. What was meant to happen did happen after all. Everyone's dead. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Give up, Furina. There's no point in holding out. I'm sorry. But what can I even do other than to repeat meaningless apologies? Oh, who's that?
Don't worry, Furina. It's just us.
So it is you, blonde traveler from another land. Why, I almost thought you were someone from that mob of my ignorant subjects, come to kneel and beg for my forgiveness.
Furina, you were crying just now, weren't you? The tear stains on your face are obvious.
What do you mean, tear stains? Oh, I remember. The show at the Opera House earlier this morning was so moving. I'm still trying to process it.
Okay, eine perfekte
Who did that
Schauspielerin.
uncivilized rabble think they were? Disturbing my enjoyment of the arts. They even dare to tout their Archon. I must teach them a lesson. I can just imagine their twisted and frustrated faces once they realize that I'm nowhere to be found. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Maréchaussée Phantom are freaking out right next to them too.
Okay, diese Lache.
Of course not.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Furina, those people seem to be after you.
They are... They're just some rabid fans who want to cut the line because they haven't been able to meet me in person, aren't they? That's against the rules. I can't let them get their way.
Furina just ran off! Quick, we have to catch up with her! This should be the place, right? Hey, Furina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick, come to Paimon before the...
What is this place?
Hurry, they're almost here!
Fine. I suppose haste is warranted. Lead the way.
Oh, jetzt wird wieder irgendein Auftrag gerade blockiert. Felius Fuscus, Akt 1. Ja, das hatten wir leider gestern schon. Also wenn ihr hier diese Legendenaufträge eben annimmt von diesen dreien, dann müsst ihr leider damit rechnen, dass ihr euch ab und zu die Hauptquest damit blockiert und ihr die dann hier erstmal ein bisschen immer voranspielen müsst wieder.
Winnie! There you are. Are you alright? Paimon was scared to death when the chain broke. Paimon was sure something had gone horribly wrong.
Magic is a performance art. A magician has to get creative to keep the audience on tenterhooks. That's our job. I was honestly a little nervous during the live performance. The thought of sometimes I can't help but wonder what Caesar thought in those final moments. Did he regret taking Gemma and Lorenzo on?
You know, Paimon's been wanting to ask you about something ever since we were in Caesar's workshop. You learned...
After I joined the House of the Hearth. I told you about my past before, remember? As a young boy, I survived by secretly but I quickly realized that observation alone could only get me so far. I needed to learn how to improve my sleight of hand, hone my misdirection. We were gifted enough that we'd made some progress by ourselves, but without proper guidance from a professional.
So that's why you sought Caesar out?
Yes. We figured there was no harm in asking, but it took us... In all, we only spent 10 short days together, but he was very good to us. For instance, when he asked why I wanted to learn magic, I answered, but in truth, there was already a lot more to the story by then. After being taken in by an aristocrat for our magic talent, then betrayed soon after, what amazed me was how the lie escaped my lips even as I was hesitating over whether to trust is a beautiful thing.
Winnie...
Still worried about the way I feel? But don't worry, I'm used to it now. From the mansions of the elite to the House of the Heart. After Caesar went on tour, we became busy with our missions. The next week, that night, I remembered his smile. To keep secrets is to put up walls. The longer you keep them up, the less you let people in. Then, one day, you look around and realize your life is... You only realize how much someone really meant to you when you lose them completely. That's why I was so confident this would hurt Gemma.
Yeah, cheer up, Winnie. We've had to say our fair share of goodbyes during our delicious food, fun toys, and the traveler by my side. Paimon just needs to focus on things like this, and all the unhappy stuff goes right out the window. You know, Traveler, doesn't that kind of make...
Exactly. It's the same for me and Lynette. We are the truest thing each other has in the... Life has taken plenty from us, like it did from Gemma. That's why the darkness never consumed me, and why it never will. Maybe we live in the shadows too, but we remember every... All right. Time to lighten this conversation.
It was amazing! Paimon just wishes we hadn't been so... Winnie?
Whoa, that's a bit of a tall order, I'm afraid. The show's just finished, so my sleeves are decidedly...
Aw, come on! Surely you can think of something.
Oh, all right then. Watch closely. I have a flower in my hand.
You liar! There's nothing in your hand!
Huh? My goodness, you're right. But I could have sworn I brought one here with me.
3, 2, 1.
Now, have another look around. Maybe the flowers appeared somewhere else.
Really? Let's see. Wow, there it is! Oh, this is a different flower from the last time, right? But more importantly, Paimon has to know how...
Well, if you want to learn magic, you'll have to start by addressing me as...
Fine!
Since you asked so nicely, I'll share one little tip with you.
Is that it?
Look at the time. We shouldn't linger here too long. Thanks again for coming to see my show. I bid you both good night. I look forward to seeing you again.
All right, shall we head back down too? Oh, Paimon can't wait to Let's head to the steam...
So, wie es aussieht, können wir jetzt unseren Hauptauftrag weitermachen.
Paimon's exhausted.
I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they displayed.
Boah, ihre Lache finde ich so geil.
You're right. Yep, that's a good girl.
What's happening? The ground's shaking. Is it an earthquake?
Yeah. A quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be. It's happening again.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Neuvillette made some emergency plans, so the evacuation should...
Yeah, I hope you're right. But the people of Poisson, they've all... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds of years. I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues and feeding information back to me. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. Anything to keep the coastline from advancing. But all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. Really, we cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have its way. Give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. Indeed, I've thought about giving up so many times, especially after we almost lost Poisson. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and obeys no rules. The prophecy has only but just now, it all became clear to me. I still don't have the right to come as long as the final moment hasn't come. It's still not too. Don't worry. I will keep hope alive for everyone. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play the stricken maiden, but honestly, considering my rank and station, that wasn't a good fit at all.
Ja,
Don't
so
take
gefällt's mir
any
gleich
of what I
besser.
just said seriously. How could I possibly let Fontaine fall to the whims of trivial prophecy?
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were actually being honest just now.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty. A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you never belonged here. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you're just a spectator, aren't you? If that's the case...
Ja. Das war also die Falle.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
So this is what it is. Yes, you deserve praise for the effort you took to raise the dramatic stakes. Do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god of justice, the embodiment of justice itself. Does it not strike you as even the least bit upsetting?
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
Oh.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Ich glaube nicht wirklich, dass du eine Chance.
Paimon can't believe it. She just surrendered.
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon surrender to a human?
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Furina, what is the meaning of this?
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be clear, the raising of both hands is not always an indication of surrender.
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my acceptance of the trial. No duel shall be necessary. I will admit that I've been running away for a long time. I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people of Poisson. It is my duty to stand trial for my crimes. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. I, too, am exceedingly disappointed in myself. But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon to show you her courage and resolve. I, Furina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice! This time, I will protect you. Applaud and rejoice! One of the most outrageous and fantastical arcs known to the opera epiclese is now unfolding before your eyes. Mark my words, this shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine! The trial of the Hydro Archon, Focalor, will now begin!
Woohoo! Oh, now we're making history.
Ja, da kann man
feel like
einfach
Furina
nur...
just took over the whole thing. Like, come on! Didn't she just get forced to stand trial for her crime? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this seriously this time, right?
All right, then. Who will be my opponent in this trial?
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Was? Wir sind es.
Is that so? Very well. Then please speak, witness of Tivat, my accuser and fated opponent. Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the trial begins. Just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the Spina di...
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. A spark was all we needed to Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene, and so we arranged for a second group to lie in wait there.
So, you mean... the ones who scoured the settlement for me were also...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in...
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epic, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Araneas. Its cargo, of course, was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Furina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary performance.
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of work.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant magic box was just a normal tremor from the trip?
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be immediate. Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial...
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding champion duelist in all of Fontaine would...
Thank you.
As for you, traveler, I suppose suppose your role was to keep me distracted with You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto the...
Oh?
Is that so? Then I suppose I must have missed my final chance. It's fine. It matters not. What's done is done. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
Ich bin gespannt.
Madam Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should speed up the proceedings.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, let Paimon see. Wait. Then that means this document is a perfect timeline of every... So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time. Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duel you took part in at the Opera House. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case I'd been following. I didn't think this is the first time Monsieur Nervillette had a difference of opinion with the Oratrice. Even the Hydro Archon, a Fatui Harbinger. She's an extraordinary person. The fortress of Meripede was almost destroyed in a single day. That, according to Monsieur Nervillette, both Child and that whale should have been in the primordial... I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, that still gives me shit. The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood when something surreal happens to you.
Okay.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervillette. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legalese. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actress of this performance, I still haven't even been informed of my supposed guilt in all of this. Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god. However,
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Furina's a fraud?
Hey,
Und man hört
I
sehr
came thinking
selten
that
mal
we
die
were
Stimme
going
vom
to try the Hydro
Reisenden.
Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted. Lady Furina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Furina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Furina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true...
Yeah, even though Lady Furina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Furina can be...
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fool. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you if you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation. We will treat everything that's happened as a dramatic spectacle and move on with our lives. What do you say to that?
Huh. An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Furina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the...
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then let me ask. If you believe I'm not the Archon, then what manner of being do you think I am? And if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
Das interessiert mich jetzt auch.
That doesn't sound... First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And...
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against...
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
You sensed it too, huh, Neverlet?
Lady Furina is actually human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by looking at them. It's not impossible.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said, how does that prove that I am merely a human being? Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped as gods. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the endemnitium that is used in every aspect of life.
That doesn't sound... You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise, you should have come up with a good explanation for that by now.
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans to comprehend. There is no need to provide an explanation.
Lady Furina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you are also first and foremost the defendant in this trial. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Furina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
The real Hydro Archon? Well, now you're really losing me. It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict that day. But the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also be no god at all.
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no...
My power as an Archon. There are many ordinary citizens in the audience. How can I just carelessly demonstrate the formidable power of an Archon.
Ja, dann demonstrier sie
If
uns
that
doch
poses a
einfach mal.
concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a god?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into Indemnitium! Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you ever seen a more magnanimous god?
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a god?
It seems like nobody's buying Furina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone! Please don't stare at me as if I was a liar! I'm still the same Furina you knew, right? The one that you loved! Shouldn't you want to believe in me? Please? You've got to believe me!
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And then all of our ancestors? Ever since they were born?
Enough! That's enough! Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is? If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can back up their claim to be such, then what grounds have you to say that I'm not actually the real deal?
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. How can we refute her? That doesn't... It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from the primordial sea.
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all suspicions of you being the latter.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor, you must still adhere to proper procedure.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time that I'll speak out of turn. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many lives, including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Furina, would you dare to touch some of this seawater? If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
If Lady Furina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us. Would she really dare to try?
Sind wir gespannt.
Lady Furina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word. It really does seem like she's quite terrified of it.
That could only mean...
What's going on? Is she really planning to... That's not what we thought she would...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Furina, you may...
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! My hand is still here! I haven't been dissolved! Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon! I'm nothing like a normal human who would fall apart as soon as they touch this water! Really? Was this not the most obvious thing in the world?
Miss Siegewien? If you're present, Miss Siegewien, please come forward and attend to the defendant.
Siegewien?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. Let me see. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court, Miss Siegewien.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Furina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. These indicate that...
Was wie jeder zweifellos gesehen hat, hat Fräulein von Hyperventilation und Hautrötungen gezeigt.
She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
Thank you, Miss Siegewien. Lady Furina, you may return to the defendant's stand.
Oh wait, what did she just say? I didn't get dissolved! Shouldn't that be enough to prove my innocence?
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance that something entirely unexpected might occur, we don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Okay, sie hätte sich also echt getötet.
Yeah, so out of regard for Furina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to serve as an expert witness. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Furina could have...
I can't believe... You... Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me such cold and disdainful looks! What happened just now didn't prove a thing! Think about it! How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can't also be affected by the primordial seawater? Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to just put my hand in that kind of water?
Eieiei.
Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your Archon.
Oh, jetzt wird's echt sehr traurig.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too stacked
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. She's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Furina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Furina is guilty.
Oh je, schuldig.
We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Furina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Okay, ich hätte jetzt echt schon gedacht.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty.
Hä?
To be punished via
Was?
a death sentence.
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a...
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court. And it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an unexpected...
Furina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us...
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Fauché wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Indeed. Not only is Furina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Furina has never been the Hydro Archon, but now the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it. I assume this means you...
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me.
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long time to get around, but has the trial already concluded? Then, doesn't that mean I've come to...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review... Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like you to...
Huh? So what do you see? What did...
I believe I have now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to...
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Furina, and we've already proven... so when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been...
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other three...
finden wir die Wahrheit raus.
The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro... Does that mean that Fontanians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting... The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down upon them. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontanians were branded with their original sin. Does this mean that the original sin and the Hydro Archon sin are the same thing? The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea. The Hydro... We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident...
We know from the end the first stone slate tells us that long ago the Hydro Archon used her power to turn Oceanids into humans. This might be the reason that Fontanians can dissolve. Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. The true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nervilette mentioned, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia, as recorded on the stone slates.
That doesn't sound quite... That doesn't...
It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell into the sea, her consciousness was subjected to judgment. The stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea. Could that be alluding to the same thing?
That doesn't...
The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people believed it at first. The fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontanians to dissolve. It seems increasingly likely that the prophecy may come true. If we hadn't dealt with it in time, things could have gone very badly.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an ocean. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin was... Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part in a The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what. The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine what we know together, loads of truth should come. It now, so that's how you can make sense of it. But then it feels like we're going to have to share some truly shocking revelations.
Let's hear them.
Okay, ja, die Menschen von Fontaine sind...
Incredible! Linny, did you hear that?
We're not real humans.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial. All of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese. The twists of history are often the most unexpected of all.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces of the truth. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using a different power source. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But since we only had 3 slates at the time, I was unable to come to a full conclusion. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded within. If everything goes well, we should finally be informed of the unadulterated truth.
Well? Did you get it?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. I will try to briefly summarize. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontainians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the 7, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontainians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into...
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontainian. But
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the 3rd and 4th stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, a key point of the visual on the 3rd slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than Oceanids. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the... The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of Trials and Justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water... You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate, that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to have, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold. So now, it seems,
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will...
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest sign that... However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, as for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before. This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the...
Okay.
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of...
Okay. Wow. Da ist er ja wieder.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the opera house? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here. That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the rising sea levels. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, its next step will be...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontainians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial seawater.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontainians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. food in the form of Fontanians.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again once it's managed to recover its strength?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like this. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need to do to stop—
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the Primordial Sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim off—
That's not something I will accept. We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last hurdle is some impossible foe. That's just not fair.
Indeed, that's not how a grand performance should end.
I'll fight it to the end, no matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where the gods' gaze does not fall? Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat's future.
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Was?
Furina!
Nein!
No, I still need answers!
You.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
You are not Furina. Who are you?
The sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor? Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles?
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe, now does it? She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this confounding conundrum. I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon, and not to mention the original sin of creating a new race of humans, I dare say she left me quite a colossal mess to clean up. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand?
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity, and the human counterpart I left behind, I named Furina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Furina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydro Archon alone, weeping on her throne. In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Furina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy. Under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the prophecy, all to create a deceitful appearance of that prophecy coming to pass. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Furina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure. It must have been torture for her.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it. It's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time.
Na dann, wir sind neugierig und wollen antworten.
Oh, who permitted you to come onto the stage? Now, I understand your admiration for my august self, but I must ask you to keep to the rules. All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not distract me from my performance. Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must, at all times, display the utmost elegance and nobility. Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough.
Illusion shattered! Ha! One with nature.
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
Oh boy. Illusion shattered!
So, und das letzte Rampenlicht fällt fällig.
Furina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're near me? How can this be?
Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad. Let's go with that.
Mirror me. What do you wish to say?
The prophecy. Have you heard?
What prophecy? Wait. I know. I think the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain, weeping on her throne.
Oh, very good. You know it.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember.
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you. Disaster will come to Fontaine soon.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontainian just like them.
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people a chance to turn things around. It is the reason why you met me today. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat.
Oh, so there's still hope after all. Goodness, you frightened me. You spoke as for the suffering. Well, I will admit that the first thing that came to mind was, but if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? So if I've already met you as my magical meeting in this world, if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side, and my pain on the other, is it not obvious where the scales should tip?
You truly are the perfect human. My ideal. I suppose this would also be the justice.
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro Archon.
Play as a god?
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But should you...
But how will I do this? A human assuming the role of a god without being exposed.
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into being a human yourself. I'm sure you already know what such an entity would be like. Remember, your true challenge will not be pursuing...
I'm still not sure I understand, but I'll try. So, how long am I going to have to play this role?
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, but I promise you, all will...
A trial, huh? How exciting. I'll be looking forward to it. The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? To be honest, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the Opera Epiclese. I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god, but it will be my honor to guide you all as the god Focalor, the god of justice. I shall do all within my power to lead you into an age. Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or suggestions,
please send them to the Maison Cardinalise. The future of Fontaine will require us to work together, after all. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to convey my thought.
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more assertive.
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there at the end.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest. What's the difference between her?
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just be a Maison.
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of being a fake? Oh, that's right. Mirmi said that I just need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them to be. Calm down, Furina. Think. What do the people want? How would they imagine a god to speak and act? Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One who can dispel all doubt. That is the character I'm... Oh, very good, my people. Only ones such as you are deserving of my rule. Now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim ownership of this opera house, would the children of Fontaine follow them? Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you are qualified to witness wondrous trials alongside my august self, here in this opera house. You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. I thought it was a debut that suited the atmosphere. Now then, let us be reintroduced.
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera house?
Her personality. It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before. Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my accession speech. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your ardor for justice. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, I say that justice is most fragrant when it blooms amid sin. The scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its God. On one side, it must carry fairness and justice. And on the other, praise and applause. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us light the fires and drink to the future of Fontaine. There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot solve. All that is needed is for you, my people, to believe in it, heart and soul. So long as I, the Archon Furina, stand within the Opera Epiclese, so long as I stand before the Oratrice, I shall even judge the gods of this world!
Lady Furina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up.
Come now, was I not just at the Opera House in person? Leave these kinds of things to Neuvillette. Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm looking forward to the most.
If I may be so impertinent, what kind of trial are you truly looking forward to?
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial. A trial to end all things. How could you hope to understand?
That's true. I fear I lack the ability to grasp your divine thought, Lady Archon.
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your duties. The trial I await. It will come one day.
Lady Furina, I don't know what to say. Thank you for agreeing to see me.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Long have you stood in... Oh, I'm afraid that's just an inevitable consequence of my divine charm. All right. Deoteria, is it? How is your son's illness?
You remembered me. He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one who forced me to seek an audience with you.
Oh, good. Very good. If this should happen again in the future, please do not hesitate to come and tell me. Going down to citizens' homes every so often, while not usual practice, should serve as a fine change.
You're such a gentle and wise god. Thank you once again.
Lady Furina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific parameters you...
I see. It's as I thought then. As your god, I did already expect this, but I wanted to see how far your human wisdom would allow you to analyze it. All manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass. Forget it. That's not something you need to worry about right now.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute is also trying to find a way to counter the...
Really? Have they found anything?
I'm afraid that they haven't found...
Oh, is that so? Well, no wonder. This... The day is finally over. I haven't had a moment to breathe this whole time. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. There are no longer any voices of suspicion. Maybe this is fine. I just need to keep going. All right, Furina, don't think too hard about...
Lady Furina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a...
There'll be no need for that. I've seen them already.
Lady Furina, I've waited so long for this.
Indeed, my dear, loyal citizen. This joyous moment is an honor for us both.
Lady Furina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me informed should anything come up at the Institute. I don't think I let anything slip today. I must show the people that there is nothing to worry about. I just don't know when these days will end. I feel utterly exhausted. Best to rest early today, too.
Lady Furina. It's like a dream being able to speak with you up close like this. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame Deoteria, almost 20 generations ago.
And what a fine family yours is indeed. It brings me great joy to meet such a faithful believer, a descendant of a line most ardent.
Surely you exaggerate, Lady Furina. My lady?
What is it, good citizen?
Are you crying?
Oh, really now? I didn't even notice. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god whose dominion is the waters, can I?
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your power, then. Oh, Archon, I am honored to have witnessed it. Honored indeed.
So interminable. So lonely. Just how much longer? Hundreds of years must have passed by now. Perhaps the show must go on for hundreds more. I never imagined that it would hurt so much. Have I reached my limit? No. Perhaps I reached it long ago. I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. But would that not destroy all I've done so far? I've conducted so many investigations across the centuries. All I can do is keep heart. I must maintain this act. It is the only way to save Fontaine.
Furina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone, although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone. Your people are...
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my...
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still choose to confide in some... Just share it with me. I'm what you'd call a witness.
A witness? Yes, I've heard that you can... And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, if that's the case... She's right. I could confide in her, but if things don't play out as expected, the people of Fontaine will... No, Furina, you shouldn't be selfish. But what if it, Furina, you've worked so hard for so long. Surely it would be okay to put yourself... Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom you can confide your first... If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might never come by again. Think about it long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. I am Furina, the Archon of Fontaine. Everything will surely get better. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance until the curtains fall.
Fine.
So even Furina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first deceive yourself. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most tragic fate. It seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works, but that is only half the truth. How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine? That is the most important.
Ah, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine, yes?
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along. Am I right?
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understanding of this device still lacks sufficient depth. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice, it will also take down the divine throne upon which she has been placed. I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose while Furina suffered? My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnitium within the Oratrice. But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide power to Fontaine. The vast majority had to be, accumulated to enact this death sentence.
It was all part of your plan then? Both the trial and the sentence?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia had it only been used for that purpose. Almost all of it has now been stored within the Oratrice. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by Celestia and breaking through the institution that is the Seven.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Furina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent, you must be...
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet.
But...
Sorry, jetzt ist hier mein Controller leider ausgegangen.
Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And this is the face you make.
All you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked. Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty of essentially the same crime? Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possessed. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human existence itself. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontanians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, justice is the continuation of that existence. Defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on, that should be the justice enthroned over all others. At this point, we, whether it be myself or all other Fontanians, have shouldered the burden of this sin for far too long. Iudex Neuvillette, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign, what verdict shall you pass upon us?
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see now that that was your idea too. At last, I now understand the true purpose behind this position. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to feel as they feel. You are a devious one, Fussalor. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Neuvillette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Iudex Nuvelet, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened? Has the death sentence been carried out?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a feeling that something huge just happened.
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved, I assume whatever happened was good for us.
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that beast.
Didn't you say just a moment ago that it can't be defeated?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the Primordial Sea from that creature. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry.
Und jetzt, da mein Controller nicht geht, kann ich hier gerade nicht weiter drücken. Da muss ich den Stream mal kurz anhalten, dann geht's gleich weiter.